Shut up. You better shut up. Shut up. You better shut up. Shut up.
In real life.
Ooh, in real life, he will fuck Alan up.
I would fuck you up in real life.
Yeah, in real life. No, I would spend me and my boys.
Move the mic around, man. Move the mic around, man. Fuck you, motherfucker. I fuck you up in real life.
You gotta let him finish. You gotta let him finish.
You know, MF, I liked what you said. Okay, I'm not fighting with you. So don't go down that, okay, who's got the bigger dick? We'll both end up sounding like idiots.
You know I got the bigger dick.
Let me get I don't know who's measuring.
Yeah, and if you do MF, it's because
that charge.
mine was too big. I had it reduced down to
It's sorry.
So I'll say this. I feel the sentiment 3. Here's my approach to it. So when it comes to Black Americans, the biggest issue that we have, is that we don't operate like the whole world.
No shit, they don't operate like the whole fucking world.
The whole world operates off of families and bloodlines. And you being able
bloodline, that back to the blood,
is the biggest issue for Black Americans. Because if they actually took the time to do their genealogy, they realize that all of these abandoned lands in various places throughout and overseas and other places, they would realize.
Oh shit, overseas even. They got dominions overseas.
Shit. All I gotta do is go back to what my family owned. But
shit, he gotta go back in time to get what he owed now.
In these 60s and 70s, used niggas to tell us this story that all people and all of your ancestors came from Africa, and as if Africans
My people ain't come from Africa for it.
I know. I'm just speaking to the generality.
I don't like them booty scratching niggas either.
Ooh, shit.
As if Africans weren't enslaving each other, as if Indians over here weren't enslaving each other, and as if Europeans over there weren't enslaving each other. Slavery was big business all throughout the world at this point in time. And the only way people can kind of unclutter these things is to do their personal genealogy to see specifically what happened to them. Now, some people say, well, slavery in Europe was not like slavery over here. Bullshit. Because I can show you people who did their family tree and went back to Europe and wrote a book about it. And they talked about how their ancestors had their hands tied behind their back, and then they had a lever that pulled their arms up in the air backwards, and they were suspended in the air. And if they didn't tell on who the rest of their family members were, they would release the lever and they would drop down and they would catch it at the last minute and pull their arms out their socket. Like these are real stories of people who trace their family lineage back to, the 16 and 1500s and, in some cases 1400s. And it's all based on genealogy. But in the 50s and 60s, they put niggas in front of us to tell us this story that, hey, this is your story. They don't know shit of family, but they doctored up this whole concept that we're going to relegate history to this group of people, and everybody got to believe what this group of people say. And niggas never went back to figure out and validate if what these niggas are saying is true. So now you have a one-size-fits-all story that's watered down, and they just bust the shit down to all Black people come from Africa. Okay, now, we fast forward to grades, we were taught all of the records from the slave ships were destroyed. This was taught in school. At least that's what I was taught down here in Atlanta. Now, when you open up HR 40, it's only 12 pages, and you read HR 40, section, I think it's like 5E1, literally says they're going to use evidentiary documentation to prove that 4 million slaves came up, and that's what birthed to be the Black American population, the 13% today. Now, How in the hell are you going to prove this if you taught us in grade school that the records were destroyed? This is another Democratic to keep Black people focused on what the fuck they can control. And we keep handing over our own destiny, our own ingenuity, our own ability. As if that's the person that's holding you back. We're literally imposter syndrome. Start 12 businesses, and you can't do all of this bankruptcy shit because our economy is not as developed, and it's going to cause too much financial harm to our economy. And then they start throwing niggas in jail if they file bankruptcy too many times. Like, only in America is where you can do this type of shit, where you can fail and fail and fail and fail, and all you need is one opportunity to fuck. So we bought into this story where we are not the controllers and dictators of our own future. And it's always somebody else's issue that we can't fix our own collective and our more importantly, our own individual issue. Saying, okay, I see AI kicking off right now. Let me go and learn something about this shit. Let me sacrifice the shit that I like doing on the weekends, you know, hanging out with the homies and shit like that. I might have to miss a few barbecues. I might have to miss a few birthday parties, you know, gatherings, social gatherings. I might have to miss New Year's. I might have to miss all of this shit because I'm willing to put that aside to sacrifice on the shit that's really important so that way I can change my condition. All of that shit has been relegated to a white man who is our quote-unquote, and this is the goddamn Democrat Party that keep recycling this shit, and it makes it hard for people to get out of the hole because they think somebody else is responsible for their condition. When at the end of the day, it's our own issue. That's what the fucking problem is.
Hey, sorry, good to see you. Good to see you, brother. I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Did you say that other nations had slaves?
Yes, sir.
So are you telling me that what I was taught, that Black people were the only victims of slavery? Was that wrong teaching?
That's not what you was taught.
That's wrong teaching.
Chattel slavery and that other shit is wait, like,
Hey,
bro, stop it.
Let me finish.
Fucking coon.
Oh, mister, why are you jumping into a conversation?
There was no difference, bro. There was no difference.
Okay.
Maybe how you became a slave was different, but the conditions on a plantation, whether that plantation was in America, whether that plantation was in Africa, plantation was slavery.
Jamaica and Haiti are two examples of the Europeans participating. They got a lot. The English and the French got a lot of their early money at the beginning of the 1700s out of those slave plantations in the Caribbean.
Let's let Edward finish his point real quick. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. The reason why is, Sword, you know, I wasn't taught that. You know, Sword, that you and I've had conversations about the fact that we're responsible for our own lives. And for me to think at 62 years old, some white guy is sitting in his home thinking about Edward would be asinine. I'm not going to teach it to my children or my grandchildren. I'm going to teach my children that they are in the best experiment in the history of men called America. We're an ideal. Now, if you don't like the ideal, then you're going to miss out because everything else is a bunch of noise. And what you said, Sword, about what you call that they've been teaching for years and years and years and doing this over and over is just absolutely crazy that a group of people could be so bewildered in 2026 by the Black Caucus, all of the people out here talking about chattel slavery and all this other stuff, that we were treated so bad, but yet we still stand tall because, and I land on this, I grew up in the era of crack cocaine. I seen them on the streets of Springfield, Massachusetts.
You smoking?
And I've never done drugs in my life. I don't care what they bring. I don't care how many times they make drugs legal. I don't care how much alcohol they make legal. Every individual person still have a choice Okay, we keep believing that just because someone dropped something off in someone's neighborhood, that all of a sudden the drugs just jumped on them. Every individual person is responsible for the outcome of their own.
I'm sorry, Edward, but yes, I wake up in the morning, I'm thinking about you. I go to sleep at night, I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about you all the time. So there is, in fact, a person who is thinking about you all the time. I just want to let you know that.
Bro, you had. Let me say one more thing.
Alec, I got your hello, Alec.
Yeah, I was gonna say one.
I think you cut off. Say it again.
I'll just land by saying this. Yeah, we gotta stop doing the blame thing, man. And I'm not saying you all three because I know your position, bruh. Like, if you are an example of the possibility, there's nothing that's stopping another brother or sister from doing the same thing. Inspiration can come from anywhere here who can't even speak the fucking language, can't write, can't read. How the fuck are they able? Yeah, I get it. Sometimes there's pro.
Dang, Sword. Me or Sword on me?
But y'all
Yeah,
get
what
what
your
so,
sword.
oh, shit.
Hey, look, Sword gets his connection better. I'll weigh in here. When you look back in history, the idea of reparations has been sold in many different forms. In 1999, the Housing Act passed by Truman that created the poverty centers in urban cities was used by the Democrat Party to be able to relocate black voters so they could take majorities in many of the cities. However, when you look back on it years later, it's blamed as one of the causes of racial disparity. Same with the education reforms and the Great Society by LBJ. There's an idea, it's sold in the essence of we need to help lift up black folk, and then years later, it gets reframed as if it's a part of the issues of disparity. We've seen many different issues come up over the years, affirmative action, and as lately as DEI. As long as black folks continue to believe that they're not being used as political pawns in this game, that it advances some sort of issue that allows that party to gain power, and then is later, as it loses its luster, it then gets framed as being a cause of the disparity between it. It keeps black folk trapped in this idea that there's still this, society hasn't done enough. So, I mean, like, I support the Republican Party using the idea of reparations to advance a conservative agenda. I think the federal government owns way too much land. 28% of the United States of America is owned by the federal government. A lot of that land is areas that have energy below it. I would support honoring the deal that was made of issuing 40 acres to descendants of chattel slavery, as long as there was a competitive agreement between energy companies where they can go in and get that energy out, and that black folk would be able to then gain.
Now ye shall know that the chosen priest, that ox of infinite space, is the prince, priest, the beast, and in his woman called the Scarlet Woman is all power given. They shall gather my children into their fold. They shall bring To him is the winged secret flame, and to her the stooping starlight. But we are not so chosen. 18 burn upon their brows, O splendorous serpent. 19, oh azure-lidded woman, bend upon them. 20, the key of the rituals is in the secret word which I have given unto him.
As a curiosity and kind of a problem to be solved. And if you hear him speak, his mindset is completely different. And it makes a big difference on your attitude towards opportunity in America. And, you know, if Sword, if you're still there, I'm driving. Yeah, you're still there. No, when you were talking about genealogy and not knowing your genealogy, I wasn't sure where you were going with it. But what I get from that, you know, what is, if I understood you, was that, or I'll interpret what you said. I won't try to assume to know everything of what you meant. But what I get from that is that, yeah, genealogy can be important, but it's not the be-all and end-all. And as an example of that, one of the billionaires that Trump looks up to and saw, I don't know if he was ever a mentor, was a guy named Kirk Kerkorian. And he came to this country. He was an immigrant. He came to this country, with nothing, and yet ended up being a billionaire. So, yeah, all of that is important or can be important, but it's not a limitation. And yeah, and I got your point. The Democrats use that as yet another